Tonight, we uncover a mystery buried in stone and time, an enigma carved into the arid deserts and deep canyons of the American Southwest, where ancient ruins defy every explanation science has tried to give them. From impossible architecture to unexplained symbols and alignments, these sites challenge everything we thought we knew about the early history of North America. So before you get comfortable, as always, take a moment to like the video only if you enjoy our content. Subscribe to stay updated with the stories that rarely get told, but should never be forgotten. And hey, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. Sometimes our stories are just too interesting, but we are working on a few boring ones too. Alright, it's time now to dim the lights, turn on a fan for some background noise, and explore the inexplicable together. In the heart of New Mexico's high desert lies one of the most perplexing ruins in North America, Chaco Canyon. At first glance, it's just another dusty collection of stone walls and broken buildings. But as you step closer, something begins to feel off. Not wrong, but almost too perfect, too precise. Chaco isn't a village. It's an ancient city, a city with wide roads, multi-story buildings, and engineered layouts that rival anything built before the Renaissance. And yet, no one can say for certain who really built it or why. Constructed between 850 and 1250 CE, Chaco Canyon was home to the ancestral Puebloans, a people without written language, metal tools, or wheels. Still, they somehow managed to move hundreds of thousands of massive sandstone blocks, some weighing more than 600 pounds each, to build what are now known as great houses, the most famous being Pueblo Bonito, a D-shaped structure with over 800 rooms. And here's where it gets stranger. Chaco's buildings were aligned not randomly, but with the cosmos. Many structures were designed to match the positions of the sun, moon, and stars, down to astonishing accuracy. The walls of Pueblo Bonito and other great houses align with solstices and equinoxes. Certain sightlines point directly at lunar standstill points, a rare astronomical event that occurs just once every 18.6 years. That level of astronomical planning requires not just knowledge, but decades, maybe even centuries of careful observation. There's more. Chacoan engineers built a system of roads, long, straight, and eerily precise. Some stretch for over 50 miles, and rather than curve around natural obstacles like hills or ravines, they cut straight through them. But no one knows why. The people of Chaco had no wheels, no beasts of burden, no carts. So why build roads that lead nowhere? Archaeologists still argue about what Chaco was: a city, a spiritual center, an ancient observatory. Some even believe it may have been a site of inter-tribal meetings or ceremonies, a sort of prehistoric Vatican of the Southwest. But here's the truth. Despite decades of research, we still don't know why this place was built or why it was abandoned. All we know is that Chaco Canyon shouldn't exist. And yet, it does. Perched high above the valleys of southwestern Colorado, cradled by sandstone cliffs and pine forests, sits Mesa Verde, a breathtaking city in the sky, carved directly into rock. These aren't just simple dwellings. They are entire communities, multi-story homes, ceremonial chambers, storage rooms, and hidden passageways, nestled into the cliffs like nests made of stone. And yet, no one knows exactly how they were built or why these people chose such a harsh, vertical life. The ancestral Puebloans, once again, are credited with these constructions, just like Chaco Canyon. But while Chaco sprawled across the desert floor, Mesa Verde clung to cliffs, often hundreds of feet off the ground. Some dwellings can only be reached by hand and toe holds, carved into sheer cliff walls. No ladders, no scaffolding, just the rock and the will to live within it. Among the most famous is Cliff Palace, a dazzling complex with over 150 rooms and 23 ceremonial kivas. It's believed that more than 100 people once lived here, but the stonework, the symmetry, the sheer scale, it feels like something built by a civilization far more advanced than we give them credit for. And here's the haunting part. No one really knows why these cliff dwellings were built. Were they for protection, to escape enemies, or perhaps to get closer to the stars, the spirits, or the sun? Archaeologists have found pottery, tools, even remnants of food left behind, but what they haven't found are answers. One of the biggest mysteries surrounding Mesa Verde is its sudden abandonment. By the late 1200s, the entire area was deserted. Not just one or two families. Everyone left. And they didn't leave slowly. They disappeared. Within a single generation. No mass graves. No signs of war. Just silence. Some believe drought pushed them out. Others think internal conflict. But there are whispers too. Legends passed down from tribal elders. Stories of spiritual warnings. Of cosmic shifts. Of things seen in the sky that drove the people to flee. Whatever the truth is, Mesa Verde remains frozen in time. A place where people once lived, laughed, prayed, and vanished, as if they had never been there at all. High on the edge of an ancient lava flow in eastern Arizona lies one of the Southwest's most puzzling ruins, Casa Malpais. The name, given by early Spanish explorers, means House of the Badlands. But for the people who once lived there, it was anything but bad. This was a sacred place. A place of ritual, a place of alignment, and one that continues to baffle archaeologists to this day. Unlike other ancient settlements built on fertile valleys or near water sources, Casa Malpai was constructed on jagged black volcanic rock. A harsh, uneven terrain. It's not the kind of place you'd expect to find a thriving community, and yet, sometime around the 13th century, a group of ancient people, believed to be ancestors of the Zuni, built a vast complex here, complete with walls, rooms, and perhaps most intriguing of all, a solar calendar. This calendar wasn't digital, wasn't mechanical, and yet it was stunningly accurate. A stone circle built with a purpose, to track the solstices and equinoxes with remarkable precision. On certain days of the year, sunlight would pass through narrow rock openings, illuminating specific carvings or corners, marking the change of seasons like a prehistoric observatory. Who taught them this? How did they measure time so accurately without modern instruments? Science has no clear answer. There's more. Casa Malpais contains one of the few spiral staircases ever found in ancestral Puebloan architecture, spiraling down into a ceremonial kiva carved into the lava. This great kiva is unlike others in the region. Massive, subterranean, and almost cathedral-like in presence. It hums with an eerie stillness, as if the rituals once performed there still linger in the air. And then there are the petroglyphs, mysterious symbols etched into basalt. Some appear as spirals, others as humanoid forms, with outstretched arms and unusual heads. Local tribal stories speak of sky beings, of messages written in stone, and of energy points in the earth. Casa Malpais wasn't just a home. It was a spiritual laboratory, a place where the earth and sky met through human intention. Yet, like so many others, it was eventually abandoned. Why? No one knows. But what remains is a mystery not just of architecture, but of purpose. A forgotten temple, built on fire, pointed at the stars. North of Flagstaff, Arizona, surrounded by scorched, red earth and hardened lava fields, rests a silent sentinel of ancient times, the Wupatki ruins. Wupatki means tall house in the Hopi language. And once, nearly 1,000 years ago, it was just that, a multi-story settlement that rose from the desert like a beacon. Towering walls, carefully laid bricks, and long corridors filled with echoes now swallowed by the wind. But Wupatki is more than just architecture. It's a place that doesn't feel entirely silent. The desert air carries something with it here. A low hum, a strange pressure, an uneasy stillness. Visitors often describe it as a whispering wind, a presence that presses against your skin. And it's not just imagination. Wupatki is home to one of the most bizarre acoustic anomalies in the ancient world. In the heart of the ruins lies a large circular structure, the ball court. Unlike any other structure in the region, its design more closely resembles courts found in Mesoamerica, far to the south. When you stand in the center and speak, even softly, your voice bounces back with stunning clarity. It's like speaking inside a modern-day auditorium. No one knows how or why this was engineered, but it was. And then there's the blowhole nearby, a natural geological vent that breathes, literally. Depending on the temperature and pressure, the hole inhales or exhales air, sometimes with such force that it rustles your clothes or hair. Ancient people may have believed it was alive or connected to the underworld. The Wupatki complex once housed over 100 rooms and supported a network of smaller villages spread across miles. Yet again, the question arises, how did such a large population survive in a place so dry, so harsh? There are no rivers here, no forests, just sun, stone, and volcanic soil. And yet, Wupatki flourished after the eruption of Sunset Crater volcano, just 20 miles away. An eruption that left behind nutrient-rich ash, possibly making farming briefly possible. Still, science can't explain why the people chose to settle here, or why they left. The wind that moves through Wupatki today seems to carry those unspoken reasons. A city built in stone, acoustics that whisper secrets, and a breathing earth beneath it all. Wupatki remains one of the Southwest's most mysterious voices. Tucked deep within the Navajo National Monument in northeastern Arizona lies one of the most secretive and secluded cliff dwellings in the American Southwest, Betatakin. From afar it's almost invisible. Hidden in a massive sandstone alcove carved naturally into the canyon wall, Betatakin looks less like a ruin and more like a shadow. You could walk by it and never know it was there. But once you do see it, really see it, it takes your breath away. The name Betatakin means house built on a ledge in the Navajo language. And that's exactly what it is. A village of stone and timber, impossibly balanced on a narrow ledge hundreds of feet above the canyon floor. Built around the year 1250 CE, it was home to the ancestral Puebloans, also known as the Anasazi. Yet unlike other settlements that sprawled or expanded over time, Betatakin was compact and deliberate. Over 120 rooms, packed tightly within the rock face, many stacked vertically, forming a kind of prehistoric apartment complex suspended in air. But the biggest mystery is this. Why here? There are no rivers at the base, no easy access, no visible trails leading in or out. The only way to reach Betatakin is by a narrow path through slick, steep rock, and even that would have been treacherous without modern climbing gear. So why build so high? And so hidden? Some archaeologists believe it was for protection, from raiders, from rival tribes, or from something else entirely. Others suggest it was a spiritual choice, closer to the sky, tucked into the earth's womb, where silence and shadow met. Some even think it was a refuge, built in a time of fear. But what they all agree on is that they didn't stay long. Betatakin was occupied for less than 50 years. That's barely 2 generations. Then it was suddenly abandoned. No signs of war, no destruction, just silence. As if the people simply gathered what they could and disappeared into the wind. Today, only park rangers and birds dwell near Betatakin. And as the sun sets, casting long shadows across the alcove, it feels less like a ruin and more like a secret. A village made of silence, still waiting for its story to be told. Hidden deep within the canyons of northern Arizona, far beyond paved roads and into the wild heart of the Navajo National Monument, lies a place so well preserved it feels like the builders just stepped away yesterday. This is Quetzil, which means broken pottery in Navajo, but what you'll find here is anything but broken. It's a cliff dwelling, much like Betatakin, built into a massive sandstone alcove nearly 200 feet high. But Quetzil is larger, over 150 rooms and multiple kivas tucked gracefully into the rock. The architecture is tight, almost intricate, with perfectly cut masonry, wooden support beams still intact, and pottery fragments scattered like breadcrumbs from the past. What makes Quetzil so extraordinary isn't just its beauty, but how untouched it feels. While most ancient ruins have weathered centuries of looting, erosion, or reconstruction, Quetzil was left largely alone. Its remote location protected it. Few dared the long, rugged journey through canyon and brush to reach it, and so it waited, in silence, for modern eyes to rediscover it. Historians estimate the site was occupied between 1250 and 1300 CE, a time of growing turmoil in the region. Yet here, at Quetzil, there's an overwhelming sense of peace. The rooms are orderly. The storage areas still contain corn cobs and tools. Some doorways are still sealed with mud plaster, as if the family inside simply went out for the day. But they never returned. Just like so many other ancestral Puebloan sites, Quetzil was abandoned suddenly. Why remains one of the Southwest's greatest mysteries. Was it drought, resource collapse, social upheaval? Or something more intangible? Something spiritual? Even the ground tells a story. The layers of ash, broken pots, footprints, and discarded tools reveal rituals, daily life, and finally, departure. Visitors who make the 17-mile hike to Quetzil often say it doesn't feel like a ruin at all. It feels paused, like time held its breath here, like the canyon itself is protecting a memory too sacred to fade. Quetzil is not just an archaeological site, it's a time capsule, a still beating heart from a civilization long vanished into dust. Rising out of a limestone cliff in central Arizona, like a forgotten castle in the sky, is one of the Southwest's most iconic and misunderstood ruins, Montezuma Castle. But let's clear something up right away. Montezuma never lived here. In fact, the Aztec emperor was born centuries after this place had already been abandoned. Early European settlers simply assumed it must be connected to him, because surely something this grand, this well constructed, had to be royal. But the truth is far more mysterious and far more impressive. Montezuma Castle was built by the Sinagua people around 1100 CE. They were an agricultural society with no writing system, no known currency, and no animals for heavy labor. Yet somehow, they managed to build a 5-story structure, 20 rooms carved into a sheer cliff wall, over 90 feet above the ground. It's not just a dwelling, it's a fortress, a sanctuary, and a marvel of prehistoric engineering. The placement alone is baffling. The building hugs the cliff in such a way that it remains shaded from the brutal Arizona sun in the summer and catches just enough warmth in the winter. It's naturally insulated, protected from flash floods, defensible from threats. But how did they do it? Without ladders or scaffolding, the Sinagua carried every piece of timber, clay, stone, and thatch up a vertical rock face. And they didn't just stack stones, they designed an entire vertical community, complete with living quarters, storage rooms, and shared gathering spaces. Yet the biggest mystery of Montezuma Castle is not how it was built, but why it was abandoned. Around 1425 CE, the Sinagua disappeared. Not just from Montezuma Castle, but from the entire region. No signs of war, no fire, no natural disaster, just silence. To this day, archaeologists aren't sure what happened. Did they merge with neighboring tribes? Was it environmental collapse? Or something more spiritual, more profound? And then there's the castle's quiet guardian, the Verde River, which once ran closer to the base of the cliff, offering water and life. Its course shifted over time like the people who once lived above it. Now, Montezuma Castle stands empty, yet proud, a castle without a king, a mystery carved into stone, a story still waiting to be fully told. In the vast northeastern corner of Arizona lies a canyon so deep, so beautiful, and so steeped in history that it feels like a portal into another world. This is Canyon de Chelly. It's not just one ruin here. It's an entire landscape of memory. Towering sandstone cliffs rise as high as 1,000 feet, cradling hidden villages, ancient farms, and sacred rock art within their scarlet walls. For centuries, the Navajo have called this place home, but long before them, the ancestral Puebloans carved entire communities into these cliffs, some so high and remote that even today they're nearly impossible to reach. The most iconic of these is White House Ruin, named for a single white plastered wall still visible even after 800 years. Tucked halfway up the cliff, it looks less like a ruin and more like a whisper frozen in stone. And yet, this is just one of hundreds of sites scattered throughout the canyon's maze-like depths. What's astonishing about Canyon de Chelly is its continuity. People have lived here, without interruption, for nearly 5,000 years, longer than almost any place in North America. The canyon provided everything: water from the Chinle Wash, shelter from the cliffs, and fertile land on the canyon floor. It was both sanctuary and stage, but there's something else here. Something harder to explain. In nearly every alcove, along cliff faces and canyon walls, are petroglyphs and pictographs, etched and painted images of spirals, handprints, suns, and beings. Some are familiar, others are strange. Human-like shapes with elongated limbs, horned heads, and what look like antennae or rays extending from their skulls. To some, these are stories of spirits. To others, warnings or records of things once seen in the skies. Even the Navajo elders speak of emotional echoes here, of parts of the canyon that feel heavier than others, places where you don't speak loudly, where you feel watched. Despite generations of study, archaeologists still can't explain who built the first dwellings here, or why so many were abandoned by 1300 CE. What caused this great migration away from the cliffs? Canyon de Chelly isn't just a ruin. It's a living monument, a place where stone holds secrets, where silence speaks volumes. And tonight, it speaks to us too. Straddling the border of southeastern Utah and southwestern Colorado lies a forgotten kingdom of stone, Hovenweep. Its name, given by the Ute tribe, means deserted valley. But what remains here is anything but empty. Scattered across the canyons and mesas are a series of ancient towers, each one perched precariously on the edges of cliffs, boulders, and ridgelines. They seem to watch over the land like silent sentinels, standing tall for nearly 800 years. Some round, some square, some even D-shaped. Each tower is unique, and each raises the same haunting question: why were they built, and by whom? The people who constructed Hovenweep were once again the ancestral Puebloans, the same mysterious culture behind Chaco Canyon and Mesa Verde. And yet, the architecture here is different, more vertical, more experimental. Many of these towers are 2 or even 3 stories high, built with incredible precision. Stones fit so tightly together that you couldn't slide a knife between them. They had windows aligned with solstices, niches likely used for astronomical observation, and entryways too small for combat. Which makes one theory even stranger. Some researchers believe the towers were defensive. But if that's true, why do they lack defensive features? No battlements, no storage for weapons, and no strategic sightlines. If they were watchtowers, they were never used for war. Others suggest they were observatories. The alignment of certain openings points toward celestial events, moonrises, sunsets, and equinoxes. Were these structures meant to measure time, or to connect with something beyond the stars? Then there's the spiritual theory, that these towers were ritual spaces, meant for ceremonies that have long been forgotten. But just like so many sites before it, Hovenweep was abandoned around 1300 CE. The people left behind no written language, no oral history that survived. The towers stood, but their purpose did not. Even more curious, there are no burial sites here, no evidence of battle, no mass exodus. The desert simply took them back. Today, as the wind blows through the empty towers, there's a feeling that you're not alone, as if the towers themselves remember, as if the desert is still watching. Hovenweep is a place of silence, of symmetry, and of unanswered questions. A city of towers built for a purpose long lost to time. High above the pine forests of southern Colorado, where the land begins to fold into the Rockies, 2 towering stone pillars rise into the sky, Chimney Rock. From below, they look like natural formations, just another quirk of geology. But hidden near their base, on a narrow ridge thousands of feet above sea level, lies something much stranger, the remnants of an ancient ceremonial complex, built with one of the rarest cosmic events in mind. This is Chimney Rock Pueblo, and what happened here may be one of the most advanced pieces of prehistoric astronomy in the Western Hemisphere. Built by the ancestral Puebloans around 1076 CE, the site includes over 200 structures, including pit houses, storage rooms, and a grand ceremonial building perched just below the stone spires. What's remarkable is not just where they built it, but why. Every 18.6 years, a rare lunar event occurs, called a major lunar standstill. It's when the moon, instead of rising and setting in its usual arc, climbs to its highest point in the sky. During this event, it appears between the two stone towers of Chimney Rock when viewed from the ridge. And the ancient people who lived here knew this. They didn't just notice it, they built for it. Walls and windows align with the moon's path. The ceremonial structures face the towers precisely. This wasn't random architecture. It was celestial engineering, by people with no telescopes, no charts, no written language. Think about that. How many years of observation would it take to notice a pattern that only repeats every 18.6 years? How many generations would it take to pass down that knowledge? And then, the mystery deepens. The site was suddenly abandoned not long after its construction. No signs of war, no drought damage, just silence. As if the builders came for one purpose, to witness the moon. And once they did, they left. Modern archaeologists still debate its function. Was Chimney Rock a pilgrimage site? An observatory? A temple to the sky? We may never know for sure. But one thing is certain. Chimney Rock wasn't just built on a mountain. It was built for the moon. A sacred place where heaven and earth briefly align, and where, for just one night, the sky comes home. Tucked away in the quiet town of Aztec, New Mexico, not far from the Animas River, sits a sprawling ruin that has nothing to do with the Aztecs at all. But when 19th century explorers stumbled across it, they assumed only the legendary empire of central Mexico could have built something so sophisticated, and so the name stuck, Aztec ruins. In truth, this massive complex was built by the ancestral Puebloans, likely between 1100 and 1200 CE, during the final bloom of their civilization. And what they left behind is stunning. The centerpiece is the Great Kiva, a circular, semi-subterranean ceremonial chamber, larger than anything of its kind. Nearly 50 feet across, it was once covered by a roof supported by 4 towering columns, each carefully engineered with layers of wood and stone. The original support beams have been preserved for nearly 900 years. Step inside today, and you're walking under the same ceiling that once echoed with ancient prayers, chants, or perhaps something more. This kiva wasn't a place for casual gatherings. It was sacred, possibly used to commune with the spirit world, to chart the stars, or to initiate the chosen few into something deeper. And this wasn't a lone building. The Aztec ruins span a vast area of over 400 rooms, with multiple multi-story great houses linked by long corridors and internal plazas. Some of the walls still stand over 30 feet high, their core made of stone and mortar, their exteriors smoothed with clay. Many of the architectural techniques mirror those used in Chaco Canyon, but Aztec came later. Some researchers believe this site may have been a spiritual successor to Chaco, built by people who carried forward the same knowledge and possibly the same mysteries. One of the most puzzling features? Several rooms seem to have been intentionally sealed, filled in with dirt, stone, and rubble. Why would anyone go to such effort to close off their own sacred spaces? Like many other sites, Aztec ruins were suddenly abandoned by the late 1200s. No one knows why. The rooms were left in silence, the kiva emptied of voices. But the architecture remains, so do the questions. And if you listen closely, especially beneath the roof of the great kiva, you might still hear the heartbeat of a forgotten ceremony, pulsing through time. Deep within the Frijoles Canyon of northern New Mexico lies a place that feels less like a ruin and more like a dream carved into the canyon walls. This is Bandelier National Monument, named after Adolf Bandelier, the 19th century archaeologist who first studied it, but whose name, ironically, has little to do with those who actually built it. The true builders were the ancestral Puebloans, who settled here nearly 1,000 years ago, long before any modern record. But unlike the towering stone cities of Chaco or Aztec, Bandelier is carved directly into the soft volcanic rock known as tuff. A material formed by ancient ash falls from nearby eruptions. And what they carved is extraordinary. The people here didn't just build on the land, they built into it. They created homes, storage rooms, and ceremonial chambers by hollowing out the cliffs. You can still see their hand-carved cavates or cliff dwellings, smooth, rounded rooms blackened by centuries of cooking fires. Small footholds and narrow paths connect one level to the next. Many of the homes had wooden ladders to reach higher levels, and some rooms opened onto balconies now lost to time. What makes Bandelier feel truly magical are the details. Petroglyphs, carved images of animals, symbols, and mysterious figures still cling to the canyon walls. Small circular holes, called viga holes, dot the cliffs in geometric patterns, marking where wooden beams once supported second stories or rooftops. And in the center of it all is Tioni Pueblo, a large circular community plaza that once held over 400 people. Its layout is precise, its symmetry undeniable. Why such careful planning in such a remote canyon? Perhaps the most haunting part of Bandelier is the silence. Visitors often report an eerie stillness, as if the place remembers. Some even feel like they're being watched, not by animals, but by the echoes of those who lived here. By the late 1500s, the site was largely abandoned. As with so many other ruins in the southwest, the people simply vanished, leaving behind stone, ash, and unanswered questions. Today, Bandelier remains one of the most poetic of all the ancient sites, not because of what it shows, but because of what it whispers. A city of shadows, a canyon of voices, a memory carved in ash and time. Just a few miles outside Flagstaff, Arizona, a winding trail leads you into a world that seems to hang between earth and sky. Here, in a steep gorge carved by water and time, the canyon walls are dotted with ancient homes, perched like nests along narrow limestone ledges. This is Walnut Canyon, and it raises more questions than it answers. The people who lived here, known as the Sinagua, meaning without water in Spanish, began settling in the canyon around 1100 CE. At first glance, it seems like an impossible place to build a community. The cliffs are steep, the paths narrow, and water is scarce. Yet they carved out a life here, literally. Dozens of rock-cut dwellings still cling to the canyon sides, built inside shallow caves eroded into the limestone. Each structure used the natural curve of the rock as a roof, with the remaining walls constructed from local stone and mortar. From afar, they blend into the cliff, barely noticeable, like part of the canyon itself. But up close, you begin to see the care in the construction, soot stains on ceilings from cooking fires, niches carved into walls for storage, even broken pottery left as if someone might return. Why build homes in such a difficult place? Some believe it was for protection. The cliffs made attacks difficult, and the narrow ledges could be easily defended. Others say it was about climate. The rock provided insulation against heat and cold. But there's another theory too, that these homes were part of a spiritual relationship with the land. That to live on the canyon's edge was to live between worlds, the visible and the unseen. The Sinagua didn't stay forever. By 1250 CE, Walnut Canyon was abandoned, left to the wind and time. No one knows for certain why. Perhaps drought or depletion of nearby farmland. Or maybe, as with so many other sites, they were simply called away by something larger than survival. Today, Walnut Canyon is quiet. The only sounds are wind through juniper trees and the occasional call of a hawk. But as you walk the narrow island trail, passing doorways that open into dark, empty rooms, you might feel a presence. Not threatening, just watchful, as if the canyon still remembers. A community built on ledges, a people balanced between two worlds, a place where silence speaks louder than history. In the sun-drenched hills of central Arizona, overlooking a quiet stretch of the Salt River Valley, stand two sets of cliff dwellings that seem suspended in time. This is Tonto National Monument. Built high into the rugged limestone cliffs, the dwellings are quiet now, but once they were alive with voices, with fires, with purpose. The people who built them were the Salado culture, a mysterious blend of Hohokam, Mogolon, and ancestral Puebloan traditions. Around 1300 CE, they arrived here, choosing to live not along the rivers or open plains, but in hidden alcoves tucked into sheer canyon walls. Why? That's still a mystery. The lower cliff dwelling is the more accessible of the two. It holds over 20 rooms, some remarkably intact. Wooden beams still rest in their original slots. Soot-blackened ceilings speak of years of firelight and family. Even fragments of woven mats and pottery have survived the centuries. The upper cliff dwelling, harder to reach and far more remote, is even larger, nearly 40 rooms, stacked and shaped with intention, overlooking the salt river below like a silent guardian. The architecture is purposeful. Rooms were designed for storage, sleeping, ceremony. Doorways are small and low, conserving warmth and perhaps discouraging unwelcome spirits. Some believe the layout mirrors celestial patterns. Others say the positioning offered spiritual protection or connected the people more deeply with the cliffs themselves. And then there's the question of why they left. By the late 1300s, the Salado vanished from Tonto Basin. No signs of battle, no destruction. They simply disappeared, leaving everything behind. Some archaeologists believe environmental collapse or social upheaval drove them away, but others suggest something more intangible. The Salado were known for blending cultures, absorbing traditions, languages, and symbols from others. Perhaps their disappearance wasn't an end, but a merging into tribes that still walk these lands today. What remains are their homes in the cliffs, cool, shaded, and untouched by modern noise. And when the desert wind moves through the stone chambers, it sounds like a memory. Tonto is a place of solitude, but never emptiness. The silence here isn't absence, it's presence. A stillness that honors those who came before. High in the rugged mountains of western New Mexico, almost concealed by nature's own hand, lie the Gila cliff dwellings. Tucked into the steep, eroded cliffs of the Gila wilderness, these ancient structures have long been a secret of the desert, a sanctuary carved into stone by a people who knew how to blend seamlessly with the landscape. The dwellings were built by the Salado people around the 13th century, a time when communities flourished in hidden, remote corners of the Southwest. Unlike more famous cliff dwellings that cling to the edge of canyons, the Gila cliff dwellings are nestled deeper into the rock, as if they were meant to be hidden from the world. Their location, accessible only by winding, narrow trails and steep ascents, speaks to the ingenuity and resolve of their builders. Upon reaching the site, visitors are greeted by a labyrinth of rooms and passageways carved out of the soft sandstone. The structures are surprisingly intact, with portions of original wooden beams still in place and walls that have withstood centuries of wind and weather. Each room seems to whisper the secrets of long-lost families who once lived there, their daily lives etched into the very stone. The architecture here is modest, yet it resonates with a unique charm. Small windows and low doorways suggest a life built on efficiency and protection. The positioning of the dwellings, oriented to catch the cool morning light and shield from the harsh afternoon sun, indicates a deep understanding of the environment. This thoughtful design provided natural insulation against the extreme desert temperatures and made it possible for the inhabitants to live comfortably in one of nature's more challenging settings. Mystery lingers in every nook and cranny. Despite detailed studies by archaeologists, many questions remain unanswered. Why did the Salado choose such an isolated, almost inaccessible location? What events led to their sudden departure from this secluded sanctuary? The Gila cliff dwellings stand as silent monuments to a time when survival required a harmony with the land, an understanding of its rhythms and moods that we are only beginning to comprehend. Today, the Gila cliff dwellings invite us to step back in time and listen to the echoes of a bygone era, a time when every carved stone told a story of resilience, ingenuity, and quiet perseverance. Nestled within the serene hills of eastern Arizona, surrounded by juniper and pinon trees, lies the sprawling complex of Kinishba ruins, one of the largest and least understood ancient settlements of the American Southwest. Built and occupied by the mysterious Mogollon people, Kinishba is different. Unlike the cliff dwellings or remote observatories found elsewhere, this was a true city, with hundreds of rooms spread across 9 stone buildings. At its peak, around 1250 CE, it housed nearly 1,000 residents, making it one of the largest communities of its time. But despite its size and obvious importance, Kinishba remains largely unknown, overshadowed by its more famous neighbors like Mesa Verde and Chaco Canyon. Yet, what makes Kinishba truly fascinating isn't just its size or scale, but its sense of mystery. The structures themselves reveal an advanced understanding of architecture. Walls were carefully built from local sandstone and river cobbles, meticulously mortared with clay. Large open plazas, ceremonial rooms, and residential spaces suggest that life here was deeply communal. The complexity of the layout hints at sophisticated social organization, possibly with distinct neighborhoods and specialized communal areas. Yet, the most remarkable thing about Kinishba is what archaeologists haven't found. No written records, no clues about its leaders, no indication of its true purpose beyond simple habitation. Some researchers speculate it served as a regional center, a gathering place for trade or religious ceremonies. Others believe Kinishba may have been a sanctuary, a refuge from conflict or environmental stress elsewhere in the region. But just as quickly as it flourished, Kinishba was mysteriously abandoned around 1400 CE. Unlike other ruins, there's little evidence of catastrophic events, no fire, no signs of battle. The people simply vanished, leaving behind pottery, tools, and structures that stand defiantly against time. Local Apache legends, passed down for generations, speak of ancient ones who lived peacefully with the land but were suddenly called away by spirits. Elders say these spirits warned the inhabitants to leave, leading them to disperse quietly, respectfully, leaving their homes untouched. Today, standing among Kinishba's silent walls, you might feel a quiet reverence. Birds nest quietly in the stones. Wind whispers through empty doorways. It's a city at peace, a forgotten metropolis, still patiently waiting for its story to be told. High above the painted deserts of northern Arizona, where the rugged landscape meets endless sky, stands the remarkable Navajo National Monument, a living testament to the ingenuity and spirit of the ancestral Puebloans. Carved into the sheer sandstone cliffs, this collection of cliff dwellings exudes an air of solemn mystery, as if the very rocks themselves are guarding secrets of a long-forgotten past. The monument is home to 3 primary sites, Sipapu, Kitsil, and Inscription House, each offering a unique glimpse into the lives of the people who once thrived here. Built between 1250 and 1300 CE, these dwellings were more than just homes. They were centers of community, spirituality, and astronomical observation. With rooms that served as living quarters, storerooms, and ceremonial chambers, the architecture was carefully planned to harness the natural insulation of the rock and to offer refuge from the harsh desert elements. Visitors who embark on the winding trails up to these ancient sites are often struck by the sense of isolation and serenity that pervades the area. The cliff dwellings appear almost suspended in time, their rough-hewn walls softened by centuries of wind and weathering. It is as if nature itself has slowly woven the stories of its inhabitants into every crevice and corner. One of the most intriguing features of the Navajo National Monument is the intricate network of rooms and passageways, meticulously carved into the rock. Some of the windows and doorways are strategically placed to catch the first rays of dawn, hinting at an understanding of celestial events that defies modern expectations. It has been suggested that these alignments were not accidental. They were designed to mark the passage of time, to celebrate the cycles of nature, or perhaps to serve as a guide for spiritual ceremonies. Local Navajo traditions continue to honor these sites, viewing them as sacred spaces where the boundary between the earthly and the divine is thin. Elders speak of ancestral spirits that still walk these paths, ensuring that the legacy of the ancient builders endures through generations. Today, the Navajo National Monument stands as both a cultural treasure and an archaeological enigma, a place where the whispers of the past echo in the silent, soaring canyons. It invites us to pause, listen, and marvel at the resilience and brilliance of a civilization that left behind more questions than answers, yet continues to inspire awe and reverence in every stone. Deep in the rugged canyons of central Arizona, where red rock walls rise like natural cathedrals, lies the Palatka Heritage Site, a place where the language of art and spirituality was etched in stone long before modern time. Named after the Spanish word for cave, Palatka is far more than a shelter. It is a living gallery of the ancestral spirit. The Palatka cliffs are adorned with breathtaking petroglyphs and pictographs, images that have weathered centuries of desert winds and sun. These artworks, executed in natural pigments, depict scenes of human life, mythological beings, and celestial bodies. It is as if the walls themselves were canvases, and the ancient inhabitants had an urgent message to share with the world, a message about the nature of existence, the cycles of life, and the mysterious forces that guide the cosmos. Archaeologists believe the site was inhabited between 1100 and 1300 CE by the ancestral Puebloans, who used these natural spaces not only for shelter but also for ritual purposes. At Palatka, art was a gateway to the divine. The carefully curated images appear to tell a story, one of creation, transformation, and communion with nature. Some panels are so intricate that one can almost sense the hand of the artist, delicately capturing the dance of light and shadow across the rock surface. The architecture at Palatka is equally impressive. Within the sheltering cliffs are several room blocks, each carved into the living rock. These rooms, once homes and ceremonial spaces, offer clues to the daily lives of their builders. Hearths, storage niches, and even remnants of wooden beams tell stories of community, survival, and ritual. Visitors can wander through these ancient halls, feeling the cool stone beneath their fingertips and imagining the echoes of laughter, prayers, and songs from a time long past. Yet, as with many ancient sites in the southwest, Palatka remains shrouded in mystery. What were the precise meanings behind these images? Were they records of astronomical events, spiritual guides, or lessons passed down through generations? Despite decades of research, the full story of Palatka continues to elude us. Today, the Palatka Heritage Site invites us to slow down and listen to its silent testimony and its vibrant, enigmatic art. It reminds us that even in a harsh desert, the human spirit found a way to express itself in beauty and meaning, leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate and inspire. Deep within the rugged expanse of northern Arizona, where the red earth meets a vast cloudless sky, lies the enigmatic site known as Honanki. Unlike other ruins that open onto broad landscapes, Honanki is tucked away in a hidden alcove, a natural cave that has been transformed into a sacred space by the hands of the ancestral Puebloans. Honanki was more than just a dwelling. Built around 1150 CE, it served as both a living space and a ceremonial site. The rock shelter's interior was carefully carved into multiple rooms, with niches for storage and small recesses that might have held ritual objects. The most striking feature, however, is the series of intricate rock art panels that adorn the cave walls. These petroglyphs and pictographs, depicting spirals, anthropomorphic figures, and celestial motifs, suggest a deep connection between the people of Honanki and the cosmos. It is as if the artists at Honanki used the cave itself as a canvas to record their understanding of the universe. The symbols, etched with painstaking care, seem to capture the rhythms of the natural world, the cycles of the sun, the phases of the moon, and the seasonal changes that dictated the rhythm of life. Some scholars even propose that these images acted as a kind of celestial calendar, guiding rituals and agricultural practices that were vital to survival in the harsh desert environment. Visitors to Honanki often report a palpable sense of mystery. The cave's cool interior, contrasted with the vast openness of the surrounding desert, creates an atmosphere of introspection. Standing in the dim light, one can almost hear the whispers of ancient voices, echoing through the centuries. It is a place that invites quiet contemplation, urging you to pause and consider the fragile yet enduring human connection to nature. Despite decades of archaeological study, many questions about Honanki remain unanswered. Why did its inhabitants choose this secluded, almost hidden location for such profound expression? What secrets did the symbols hold? And how did they influence the lives of those who once gathered here? The absence of definitive answers only deepens the allure of Honanki, making it a silent testament to a civilization that valued both the seen and unseen worlds. Today, Honanki stands as a relic of human ingenuity and spiritual quest, a place where art, nature, and the mysteries of the cosmos converge in quiet harmony. Its walls continue to guard the secrets of a past that, though long gone, still whispers to all who dare to listen. Deep in the remote reaches of northern Arizona, hidden within a maze of winding canyons and shadowed cliffs, lie the enigmatic Chaco Canyon ruins. This secluded site, largely unexplored and wrapped in mystery, stands as a testament to the resilience and creativity of the ancestral Puebloans. Chaco Canyon is a labyrinth of ancient stone dwellings carved directly into the canyon walls. The site's location, accessible only through narrow, winding trails, suggests a deliberate choice. It was a place meant to be hidden from plain sight, a sanctuary tucked away from the prying eyes of both rival tribes and the relentless forces of nature. Its builders, surviving in a harsh desert environment, harnessed every bit of available shelter by etching their homes and ceremonial spaces into the rock, preserving them against the ravages of time. Within the canyon, clusters of multi-room structures and narrow passageways create an intricate network. Some dwellings appear to be multi-leveled, hinting at a vibrant community life that spanned generations. Small windows and doorways carved into the rock allowed in limited light, enough to witness daily life and celebrate sacred rituals. Each structure was built with care, every stone placed as if to secure a fragile balance between human ingenuity and the natural world. One of the most fascinating aspects of Chaco Canyon is its deliberate seclusion. The ruins are spread out in a seemingly haphazard pattern, as if nature herself decided the fate of each dwelling. Some researchers theorize that Chaco was not merely a residential area, but a place of retreat, a sacred site where community members gathered for spiritual observances, away from the complexities of everyday life. Others believe its hidden nature provided protection during times of conflict or environmental stress. As you wander the narrow trails of Chaco Canyon, a profound silence pervades the air, a silence that is filled with whispers of bygone voices and memories. The interplay of light and shadow on the ancient walls creates an almost otherworldly ambience, evoking both wonder and a deep sense of introspection. Today, Chaco Canyon ruins remain largely untouched by modern development, offering visitors a glimpse into a world where life, spirituality, and survival coexisted in delicate harmony. Its hidden corridors and secret chambers continue to inspire questions about the lives of those who once called this labyrinth their home, a mystery that invites us to listen closely to the echoes of the past. Deep in the heart of southwestern Colorado, nestled within a rugged landscape where nature has sculpted mountains and canyons over millennia, lies the Canyon of the Ancients. This extraordinary region, home to more archaeological sites per square mile than anywhere else in North America, is a sprawling labyrinth of ancient dwellings, ceremonial sites, and mysterious rock art that continues to challenge modern understanding. The story of the Canyon of the Ancients is one of both abundance and enigma. Here, the ancestral Puebloans, ingenious people with no written language, yet a profound grasp of celestial patterns, carved their lives into the stone. Over thousands of sites, from humble pit houses to elaborate multi-room complexes, these ancient inhabitants created a network of communities that spanned rugged hillsides and deep ravines. Each dwelling and corridor tells a silent tale of communal life, spiritual rituals, and survival in an unforgiving landscape. What makes this canyon so compelling is its density of history. Every turn of the trail reveals remnants of a civilization that once flourished in harmony with nature. The ruins are scattered like pieces of a grand puzzle, each one a fragment of an immense interconnected story. Some sites feature intricate petroglyphs, symbols etched into rock that seem to capture the thoughts and beliefs of a people long gone. Others display architectural marvels, structures built with a precision that defies the simplicity of the tools they had at their disposal. Archaeologists continue to debate the function of many of these sites. Were they mere homes, or did they serve as centers for astronomical observation and ceremonial rites? Some scholars argue that the complex layout of these communities suggests a highly organized society with deep spiritual connections to the land. The positioning of dwellings and ceremonial spaces often aligns with the movements of the sun and moon, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos and the passage of time. Yet, despite decades of research, many mysteries remain unsolved. What triggered the sudden abandonment of these communities? Why did a society capable of such architectural feats vanish so completely? The silence of the Canyon of the Ancients leaves us with more questions than answers, a reminder that some secrets of the past are meant to be contemplated rather than fully understood. Today, as you wander along its ancient trails and gaze upon its weathered stone walls, the Canyon of the Ancients whispers the echoes of lost voices, a timeless call to remember the legacy of those who once thrived here, leaving behind a legacy carved in stone and mystery. Deep in the rugged expanse of northern New Mexico, where the desert meets the foothills, lies the evocative site of San Canyon Pueblo, a settlement shrouded in both beauty and mystery. Unlike many ancient sites that were gradually reclaimed by nature, San Canyon Pueblo tells a dramatic story of sudden destruction and inexplicable abandonment. The ruins stretch over a vast, windswept plateau where the remains of multi-room structures still cling to the landscape. Constructed by the ancestral Puebloans around the 12th century, this site was once a thriving community. Its dwellings, built from carefully shaped stone and adobe, were arranged in a precise and methodical layout that hints at both sophisticated engineering and a deeply communal way of life. What sets San Canyon Pueblo apart is not just its intricate construction, but the eerie evidence of a catastrophic event that led to its downfall. The telltale signs of burning are found scattered throughout the ruins. Walls that once supported vibrant households are now blackened with char, and layers of ashy debris cover the ground. Yet, there are no signs of conflict or prolonged warfare. No mass graves, no broken weapons, just an overwhelming stillness that suggests the community was abruptly forced to flee, leaving behind their homes and livelihoods in a single decisive moment. Archaeologists have long debated the cause of this sudden abandonment. Some propose that a fierce, uncontrollable wildfire swept through the region, leaving devastation in its wake. Others point to the possibility of a ritual or a natural disaster, perhaps a flash flood or even a mysterious localized climatic event that instilled a deep, unshakable fear in the inhabitants. Whatever the cause, the result was the same: a once vibrant community reduced to a charred relic of its former self. Yet, amidst the ruins, there is a haunting beauty. The patterns of burn marks on the stones seem almost deliberate, as if nature itself left a cryptic signature behind. The interplay of light and shadow over the blackened walls invites quiet reflection. It is as if San Canyon Pueblo continues to whisper its story, a tale of sudden loss, resilience, and the unfathomable forces of nature. Today, visitors who wander among the scorched remnants feel a profound connection to the past. They stand in silence, absorbing the tragedy and mystery of a people who vanished in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a legacy written in both stone and flame. In the remote highlands of northern New Mexico, where rugged mesas meet endless skies, lie the Galena culture sites, a collection of ruins that speak of a sudden, sorrowful end to a once thriving community. These sites, scattered among rocky outcrops and hidden valleys, offer an evocative glimpse into a past marked by both brilliance and abrupt loss. The Galena people, ancestors to later Pueblo cultures, built these sites around the 13th century. Their communities were characterized by modest, yet beautifully crafted dwellings. Constructed with a keen eye for balance and sustainability, the architecture integrated with the natural contours of the land. Curved walls, snug adobe rooms, and communal plazas suggest a society that valued togetherness and harmony with nature. But amidst the careful construction and evident planning, the Galena sites tell a darker story. Archaeological evidence reveals that many individuals met violent ends. Skeletal remains, found in clusters near the dwellings, bear the unmistakable marks of abrupt tragic conflict. There are no signs of gradual decline or natural disaster, only a sudden brutal interruption of life. Historians and archaeologists continue to debate the reasons behind these mass fatalities. Was it an internal conflict, a sudden outbreak of disease, or perhaps a devastating encounter with neighboring groups? Whatever the cause, the impact was profound, leaving entire communities silenced almost overnight. The ruins themselves have a mournful quality. The walls, though still standing, are scarred by time and loss. Small alcoves and hidden chambers that once held the laughter and daily routines of families now echo with an eerie silence. Petroglyphs etched into nearby rocks depict symbols and figures whose meanings remain elusive, as if they were desperate attempts to capture the grief and confusion of an entire people. Today, the Galena culture sites stand as a poignant reminder of life's fragile nature. As you walk among these ancient remnants, the wind seems to carry whispers of sorrowful voices, a quiet elegy for those who perished too soon. In this quiet solitude, one cannot help but reflect on the impermanence of civilizations and the enduring power of memory. The Galena legacy, though marked by tragedy, is also a testament to resilience. The stories embedded in these stones compel us to listen, to learn, and to remember that every silence holds a story waiting to be told. In the remote highlands of northern New Mexico, where the land whispers tales of bygone eras, stands Pueblo Pintado, a site whose very name, meaning painted village, hints at the vibrant stories etched into its walls. Unlike many ruins that merely mark the passage of time, Pueblo Pintado tells a tale of art, astronomy, and mystery that continues to enchant visitors today. Built by the ancestral Puebloans around the 12th century, Pueblo Pintado was more than just a community. It was a canvas for a people who saw the world in colors and symbols. The structures here are remarkable for their detailed murals and painted designs. These images, rendered in earthy pigments of red, ochre, and black, depict a rich tapestry of symbolic imagery, abstract patterns, mythic figures, and celestial motifs that hint at a deep spiritual connection with the cosmos. What makes Pueblo Pintado truly extraordinary is the precision with which its inhabitants align their art with the movements of the heavens. The layout of the rooms and the placement of the murals suggest that the village was designed as a kind of living observatory. During the solstices and equinoxes, shafts of sunlight would stream through carefully crafted openings, illuminating specific sections of the painted walls. This celestial choreography implies that the artists were not merely decorating their homes, they were recording the cycles of the sun and stars, preserving the passage of time in vibrant detail. As you wander among the partially restored rooms of Pueblo Pintado, you can almost feel the pulse of ancient life. The smooth plastered walls, once freshly painted in brilliant hues, now wear the muted colors of time. Yet even in faded form, the designs retain an air of mystery. Each brushstroke seems to carry the weight of tradition, the secrets of ceremonies, and the dreams of a people who once thrived in harmony with their environment. Despite its beauty, Pueblo Pintado was abandoned abruptly, leaving behind unanswered questions. What precipitated its desertion? Was it a gradual decline, or did a sudden event force the community to flee? Archaeologists continue to study the site, piecing together fragments of pottery and remnants of organic materials, hoping to unlock the final chapters of its story. Today, Pueblo Pintado stands as a silent tribute to the resilience and creativity of its builders. A painted legacy etched in stone and color, inviting us to pause, reflect, and marvel at the enduring beauty of human expression. Nestled in the remote expanses of New Mexico, where the rugged landscape gives way to windswept mesas and desert scrub, lies the enigmatic Salmon Ruins, a site that defies simple explanation and beckons us into a world of ancient ingenuity and mystique. Constructed by the ancestral Puebloans, Salmon Ruins was more than just a collection of stone structures. Built around the 13th century, it sprawls across a vast area encompassing multiple multi-room dwellings, ceremonial chambers, and a network of passageways that twist like the roots of an ancient tree. The sheer scale of the site suggests it was a regional hub, a thriving center where culture, astronomy, and community converged. What sets Salmon Ruins apart is the astonishing feat of transportation and construction achieved by its builders. Archaeologists have determined that the stones used in many of its structures were not quarried locally, but brought from distant sources, sometimes over 40 miles away. Imagine the determination and coordination required to move these massive blocks in an era without modern machinery or even draft animals. It speaks to a society that possessed not only the physical strength, but also the communal will and sophisticated organizational skills to accomplish such a task. The architectural layout of Salmon Ruins is equally intriguing. The structures are arranged in a deliberate pattern, with walls aligned to capture the movements of the sun and stars. This alignment was likely no accident. The builders understood the celestial cycles with a clarity that still mystifies modern scientists, and they may have designed the layout to serve both practical and spiritual purposes. The positioning of rooms and corridors hints at rituals, perhaps seasonal ceremonies, astronomical observations, or even social gatherings meant to reinforce community bonds. Adding to the mystery are the intricate petroglyphs and symbols carved into the stone. These images, though weathered by time, evoke scenes of ritual and the natural world, suggesting that art and spirituality were inseparable aspects of daily life. The walls seem to whisper secrets of forgotten rituals and lost wisdom, inviting visitors to listen closely to the echoes of ancient voices. Today, Salmon Ruins stands as a monument to human resilience and creativity, a forest of stones that still harbors the echoes of a society that knew how to master both nature and the cosmos. As you wander among its silent corridors, you're reminded that every stone has a story, and every ruin is a doorway to a past that continues to inspire awe. High in the rugged, windswept mesas of southwestern Colorado, hidden amid the red earth and towering rock formations, lies the mysterious Escalante Ruins. Unlike many ancient sites that offer complete narratives of human achievement, Escalante appears as an unfinished tale, a dream carved in stone that was never fully realized. Built by the ancestral Puebloans around the late 13th century, the ruins of Escalante stretch over a broad natural amphitheater of rock. Here, a series of multi-room structures and ceremonial spaces were planned with an ambition that transcends ordinary dwellings. The builders designed complex layouts with courtyards, storage rooms, and interconnected passageways that hinted at a sophisticated urban plan. Yet, evidence suggests that work on this site was abruptly halted. Many of the walls remain partially built, and rooms that once were intended for communal gatherings stand incomplete. This sudden abandonment has led archaeologists to speculate: was Escalante a planned refuge that never reached its full potential, or was it a ceremonial center abandoned at the height of its design? The incomplete architecture leaves us with an enigma, a snapshot of a society in the midst of transformation, where hopes and plans were abruptly silenced by circumstances that remain unknown. What makes Escalante even more compelling is its alignment with the cosmos. Certain doorways and windows, still perfectly positioned despite the ruin's unfinished state, seem to capture the light of the setting sun or the glow of a rare lunar event. This careful design implies that the inhabitants had not only architectural skills, but also a deep understanding of celestial cycles. They envisioned their structures as both living spaces and observatories, a dual purpose that connected their daily lives with the rhythms of the universe. The natural surroundings add another layer of mystery. Overlooking vast canyons and endless horizons, the site is enveloped in a silence that feels almost reverent. The wind sweeps through the incomplete walls and open courtyards, carrying with it the whispers of dreams left unfinished. It is as if the land itself mourns the abrupt end of a grand project. preserving the echoes of a community that once reached for the stars. Today, Escalante ruins stand as a silent testament to human ambition and fragility, a half-written chapter in the vast book of history that continues to inspire wonder and questions. Tucked away in the arid expanses of southern Arizona lies Mystery Valley, a place as enigmatic as its name suggests. Unlike its more famous neighbor, Monument Valley, Mystery Valley is a hidden nexus of ruins, symbols, and tunnels that have long evaded clear explanation. Here, nature and human endeavor converge to create a landscape that whispers secrets of the past. The ruins scattered throughout Mystery Valley were once part of an ancient network of settlements built by the ancestral Puebloans. Over centuries, these communities thrived in isolation, creating structures that seemed to merge with the natural contours of the land. Unlike other sites with imposing multi-room dwellings or ceremonial kivas, Mystery Valley offers a subtler display of ingenuity: small, dispersed dwellings, intricately carved alcoves, and mysterious underground passages whose purposes remain largely unknown. What sets Mystery Valley apart is not just the visible ruins, but the intricate network of tunnels and shafts carved into the rock. These passages, hidden from casual view, suggest that the valley was more than a series of isolated homes. They hint at a sophisticated system of communication, storage, or even ritualistic processions. Some researchers propose that these tunnels might have served as conduits for energy, channels that connected the physical space to the spiritual realm. Others speculate that they provided shelter during times of conflict or environmental stress. Adding to the allure, scattered petroglyphs and symbols are etched onto the valley walls. These images, depicting animals, geometric patterns, and abstract shapes, raise as many questions as they answer. Were they records of astronomical events, maps of sacred sites, or messages left for posterity, urging future generations to remember a lost way of life? Mystery Valley remains largely untouched by modern development, preserving its silence and solemnity. The vast open skies overhead and the undisturbed red rock formations create an atmosphere of both isolation and intimacy, where every whisper of wind and every shifting shadow seems laden with meaning. Visitors often find themselves pausing to listen, not just to the quiet sounds of nature, but to the echoes of a civilization that left behind more questions than answers. In this secluded landscape, Mystery Valley stands as a testament to human resilience and the timeless allure of the unknown. A final chapter in our journey through the ancient ruins of the American Southwest, where secrets are etched into stone and every step invites us to ponder the mysteries of the past.